Chào các bạn, chào mừng các bạn tới tập tiếp theo của Ta Đi Tây. Hôm nay mình có một tập đặc biệt với một người khách đặc biệt. Anh ấy là đồng nghiệp của mình ở Heineken, Đài Loan. Vì anh ấy không biết nói tiếng Việt thì đây là tập hôm nay sẽ là tập đầu tiên bọn mình nói tiếng Anh. Với những bạn nào không hiểu tiếng Anh thì mình sẽ tóm tắt lại tập này bằng tiếng Việt trong một thời gian gần nhất. Hai chủ đề bọn mình muốn chia sẻ trong tập này đó là đầu tiên là việc đi du học ở Mỹ thì có gì giống và khác nhau khi học ở Đài Loan. Và chủ đề thứ hai là một người gay ở Mỹ và một người gay ở Đài Loan thì nó có điểm gì khác biệt. Hi guys, so this is the first episode that we do in English. Today we interview my colleague in Heineken, Taiwan. His name is Sean, and then he will talk about two topics. The first one is studying master in America, especially in New York. The second part is about being a gay person in America and in Taiwan. Hi Sean.
Hi Linh, thank you for having me. So just a brief introduction of myself. I'm Sean, and I'm 28 years old. Is that matter? And how I met Linh is she joined Heineken Taiwan in January, 3 months ago, and then I was assigned to take care of her. So that's how we met. And yeah, that's pretty much. And I'm a quarter of Vietnamese, and I think that's some kind of bonding that I have with Ling. And my grandmother was Vietnamese, but I never got a chance to meet her because she passed away 1 month before I was born. So I was talking about this with Ling, and she said maybe, she can help me to find my grandmother and all the stories of her next time. So yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, he sounds very nice, but actually it's my reward for him joining the podcast. And one interesting thing is his grandmother is from the same hometown as my parents, so I hope that finding his root and finding his grandmother family would be easier. So I hope to welcome you in Vietnam this year or next year. So Sean, can you tell me more about which university do you go for master, and then which course do you choose?
Okay, so when I graduated from the college in Taiwan, and I have to fulfill the military service right after. And at that time, normally the period is for 1 year, but my mother got very sick at that time, so I got to retreat from military earlier. So that's how I can prepare myself for the exam to study above. And at that time, when I finished all the exam, I was choosing the university, the master I want to get. And at that time, I didn't really choose the school, but I chose the city because I recognize that I'm a gay. And does that surprise you? I'm gay, so I want to go to the city that where being gay can be a proud thing and can be very confident of yourself. So that's why I choose New York City, and I applied for NYU, New York University at that time, and I got in. So that's how I choose a city instead of a college. So yeah, in 2017, I went study above in New York City, and I can say that it's really the very best choice that I can have at that time.
So which course do you choose after you choose a city and then you chose a university?
So when I get into NYU, I was in the integrated marketing program because I was still very passionate about marketing, because I feel like marketing is about influencing people, and I want to learn that by the big Apple point of view. So that's why I joined NYU integrated marketing program, and at that time I really met lots of different people, like straight, gay, lesbian, transgender, and even like drag queens kind of people, because as you can know, New York is a city full of possibilities and full of like different kinds of people. So that really opened my mind and studying there.
So what amazed you in New York City, especially about the LGBTQ community?
Okay, besides from like Broadway and the Empire State Building and Brooklyn Bridge and other stuff, I find amazing in New York is that the connection between peoples. For example, when I was in university, I remember there's a time I applied for the scholarship for my department, and we have to do this interview with the dean of the apartment, and then he asked the same question as you did, that what makes you want to choose NYU? What makes you want to choose our master program? And at that time, I got a sense of maybe the thing is okay at that time. So I think purposely I answered that, oh, I didn't choose the college, I choose the city because I want to learn all the LGBTQ things. And I answered that because currently in Asia, being the gay people is not very welcoming by no matter university or the workforce. So I answered that I want to learn as much as I can when I was in New York City. And then I think he got impressed at that time. And it turned out he's not gay and he had three children in his house. But what really touches me is that when he delivered the speeches during the graduation ceremony, he said that New York City is so much about diversity and welcoming different personalities, and he said that his first son is gay, and he find it very struggle in the beginning to get to know him. Not to get to know him earlier. So that's why he want to dedicate himself in promoting LGBTQ culture and also, caring about people. So that's really the thing that I remember the most. And that's one memorable experience I have in New York for that. And the other part, besides from university, is I remember there's so many communities in each company that they have a specialized HR department, specialized recruiting LGBTQ people at that time. And I think, for example, McKinsey, they have this LGBTQ HR department, and then they will reach out to all LGBTQ people, and then to say, if you want to join the company, we are like a gay-friendly environment and community, and we welcome you. So I think that's really a culture and the very touching points in your city that I find different from Asian culture.
But then at that time, I think I remember that Taiwan is compared to other Asian countries very open to LGBTQ, right? Because if I go to Taipei, go to Ximen, there will be like the area with the street and then with different rainbow colors saying Taipei. Or Taiwan is the first place in Asia to pass same-sex legislation. Like, what makes you want to go to another city to experience LGBTQ when Taiwan is quite open foreigner?
Okay, so I went to New York in the year of 2017, and at that time Taiwan hasn't legalized same-sex marriage at that time. And I think it's because in 2011, I remember that the U.S. law finally legalized same-sex marriage in U.S. And after 2011, that each city, especially for San Francisco and New York, they have the grooming community and all the empowerment communities that broadcasting and influences the rights of LGBTQ people. So that's a thing that Taiwan at that time didn't have. And I remember during 2017 and 2019, last year, people in Taiwan really fight a lot to persuade government to legalize same-sex marriage. And at that time, I remember I helped together all the signatures in our study above student community that to and come back and go back to and went back to Taiwan, and then to be then part of the how do you say,
a petition?
Yeah, a petition to make it happen. So we went through all these difficulties, and then we finally come in the very first same-sex marriage legalized country in Taiwan, in Asia. So I think that's something that many people put very hard to earn for that. So yeah, that's why we're here. And I remember last year during May 2019, I was like having meetings all the day, wearing this big smile on my face because I feel like it's really like a dream come true.
Yeah, I remember one day you shared with me that when the country legalized the same-sex marriage, you was like so happy that you cried. Yeah, and maybe let's move on to the being a gay person in the next part. But can you share more about your working experience in New York? Because you have quite a few working experience, especially in startup in New York, right?
Yeah, because I feel like as you know that working in New York, like living in New York, is super expensive, and you have to make the most of it. So at that time, I studied in the afternoon and during night, but then daytimes I'd have lots of time to explore myself. So I work for some startup company, and very first one is PR and marketing agency. And what we do at a time is, of course, I work for them for free to exchange experience according to them. But what I did is we doing pitches to different company. Like there's one European company called Weleda, and they are doing cosmetic, and they want to step into the Big Apple market. So what we do is we help them to target all the young profession during work, and then to encourage people to go do yoga during lunchtime, and then to try the Weleda product, because Weleda, their product is very known for the natural ingredients and stuff. So that's why we do that. So that's some kind of thing that I do during that PR and marketing agency. After that, I worked for one startup called Visit.org, and this is one of the company that I feel really doing the right things and the good for people, because what they do is they are a social enterprise, and what social enterprise do is they use all their profits and donate back to the community. So Visit.org, what they do is they gather all the organization in the world that those organizations might be helping children doing education or solving water problem or woman poverty or something. And then they reach out to those organizations and to ask those organizations if they want to launch a tool on their website. And those websites, they can earn money for themselves, and then they can connect people all around the world to join that tool. So I think that's doing the good thing. So at that time, I was in charge in business development for Asia countries. So I reached out to lots of organizations in Vietnam, in Taiwan, in China, and Indonesia at that time. So I think I worked for them for 8 months, and then that's quite an experience at that time. And the last one, oh my God, I worked so much. And the last one, I finally got paid. I worked for the Bentong house called Town Bear House. So Town Bear House is one of the very famous Bentong house in downtown Chinatown in Manhattan City. So at that time, I was doing marketing and business development for the shop. And what we do is we cooperate with like Uber Eats and Postmates and other delivery company, and then to find out the best way to improve our kitchen capacity. And so that's also a quite good experience. And at that time, I was planning to stay there using the title of the company, but at that time my mom got really sick, and that's a different story. So
just a very side question, how do you find on those jobs?
I think that's all back into a community. So there's different, I think in New York, people always like to say, go hang out and find the connections with other people. So you can like, for example, you can get a job when you have a coffee and you chat with the people next to you, or you can find a job when you connect with some alumni on LinkedIn or something. So at that time, I find my job. Two of my job is in the NYU community, and the other one is because of the Taiwanese community at that time. So I think making connection with people is the very first step you can do when you are above. And I think everything started from free and trial. Like I'm doing the internship for free. So, and then you can find the other got paid job after. So don't try to set the goal too high that you must to find the paid job in the first time. I think maybe you can start from some internship, and then gradually when you show your value and when you get enough connections, and then you can get a paid job and the job you want to do.
Yeah, so the advice is maybe you can start with non-paid job in the community and search for job in your university alumni, the region. Okay.
Yeah, and the other thing that I would recommend is, I'm not saying being gay is a privilege or something, but sometimes if you find the right community, you can get the job you want. Like some of my friends, they are also gay, and then they found the job that recommended by the other gay people. When you find this community that you feel belong to, and then maybe someone in that community will help you out. I think that's a very important thing. Like Taiwanese people help Taiwanese people, and then Vietnamese people help Vietnamese people in foreign countries. So some people, they will think that, oh, I'm finally in US and out of country, I don't want to hang out with the same people anymore. But I don't think that's a good attitude, because you should utilize all the resources you have there instead of like denying the opportunities.
Yeah, it's very interesting advice. So after 2 years in New York, what did you realize about yourself that you haven't realized in Taiwan? Like anything about personalities, about what else you can do above what you thought?
I think that's the transition of the mindsets that, okay, there's one, I don't know if you guys know that there's one very popular things in US is called drag queen. Yeah, drag queen is normally in just in LGBTQ culture that male will dress out like a female, and then they will have this dramatic, like theoretic drama, and then they will, most of them are very like funny and very sarcastic, but it's very releasing to watch a show. And that's one thing that really touched my mind, that touched my soul, that not inspire me to be a drag queen, but the way they showing off themselves, they are being very proud of themselves, and they are being loud to say that who they are. I think that's a mindset that I learned a lot from New York, and that's really impact me after I came back to Taiwan. Yeah, so I think right now what I'm doing my things every day is I always keep this mindset that, oh, I don't not care about other people think, really makes you become more creative and makes you be true to yourself. Yeah.
One side story, I think when in the first few days that I met Sean, and then we were having lunch and on the way to buy bubble tea. Yeah, that's where Taiwan is. And then we were talking about cocktail bar, and then suddenly Sean told me that next time I will invite my boyfriend, and I was like, that's a very smooth way to introduce him as gay. I was not surprised that he's gay, but then I just, how, like, I don't know why he trusts me that much to tell me that he's gay in the first few days, but I really appreciate that he told me that he's gay. And then be yourself. It's difficult, it's cliche, but then I think it's true that it should be yourself, right? Like without saying.
I think the whole reason why I told you and all the other colleagues, because I really want to be working for an environment that I can truly be myself. I don't want to have to worry about what other people think. But why I can do this, and what makes me want to come out to people, because my family all know that I'm gay. So I think that's most of the fear is coming from your family know that you are gay, so you are afraid to tell the other people. So I think that's a very fundamental thing, that what makes me wish and willing to share to you about that part.
Just the last question before we move on. What do you think is the different things or similarities between studying in Taiwan and New York or America education system?
First of all, I feel like New York is different from the other cities of the US. Yeah, because New York is very about diversify and lots of communities. But I think the similar things between New York and Taipei, I would say Taipei, is the modernity. Like I think there's lots of communities in Taipei as well, like in New York, and this is like both cities are very fast paced, and people are not willing to wait. But the very huge difference is the cleanliness, of course, of the New York MRT and Taipei MRT. And
the same?
The different.
The
most different things is the cleanliness, and also I feel like New York is definitely more diversified than Taipei. Taipei is still like too many Asian, not too many Asian, like Taiwanese people, but like compared to New York, you have like French people, or you have like the other regions, and you have like Chinatown, and you have Koreatown, and other stuff. So I think what makes you never be bored by New York is the diversity.
I agree, but actually, like I think after 3 months that I'm here, I really enjoy living in Taipei. And then, yeah, there's some moments I think I don't want to go back to Vietnam because I really enjoy staying here.
So what's the difference between Vietnam and Taipei?
The difference between Vietnam and Taipei? No, I think just because I really like to go to other countries, so it's not about Vietnam and Taipei. Just I think Taiwan is a very nice country. It's very convenient. It's very clean. And then although people don't speak English that much, but I think people are very helpful, very welcoming. Although Taiwan is not diversified as New York, but I think it's a very nice country, nice place for foreigners to come and stay for a bit. I'm not so about the long while because the housing price is expensive, but then I think I really enjoy living here. Should hear it all. I'm happy to make time for your feelings. So you say that New York is a very interesting and diversified city. What interesting people that you have met that you want to share about?
You do realize I have a boyfriend right now, right? Don't put me in danger, I think.
No, yeah, you can be anyone.
But back at that time, I think it's 2017 and 18. I was having an ex-boyfriend in Taiwan, but I think distance really made me realize that he was really not the one, because I feel like I was struggling at that time if I should stay in New York or I should go back, but I feel like I shouldn't drag my ex-boyfriend with me, especially when we are separate and we really need each other's company at that time. So we broke up. And I broke up with him, and I think I really hurt him a lot at that time. But in the meanwhile, I feel so lonely, so I went out to a lot of like bars and clubs in that time. And funny thing is, I think Asia gay people kind of got welcomed by lots of like white people there. And then when like imagine picture a thing that when you are in bar and you're ordering for like a cocktail or something, and then some rendering white guy will just come over to you and they say, "Oh, this one's on me," or he will buy the shot for you, and then you guys may maybe dance, and some other people may hook up with them, but not me because I'm a good boy.
No, you can tell.
And at that time, I think I didn't really. Yeah, I did have some attachment with some Korean guy and some people from like some local guy, but I don't really got in relationship with them because I feel like many people keep saying that New York people you can't really find long-lasting relationship in New York because people come and go.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's just an excuse for New York people that don't want to commit with someone, so they will keep saying that people in New York they will not fall in love because people are come and go all the time. But at that time, you really got attracted by one Taiwanese people at that time.
Person.
Taiwanese person. One person.
No, you just say one Taiwanese people.
One Taiwanese person, yeah. And this guy, he had already been in US for more than 10 years. And I think he's also 10 years older than me, but he's super rich. In Manhattan, the Upper West and Upper East people all live in those like super rich people, and he lived in one of the house. He designed it for himself. He's an architect. Used to be architecture, and then right now he sells house. So he's super rich, and I got attracted by him because at that time I wanted to stay in New York so much that I feel like I find a model that he earned for himself, and he even sponsored himself a visa because he's too rich, and I got attached to him. But it's not really a very healthy relationship for me. And at that time he had the ex husband, and they made 2 babies at that time, and then I was so attracted by the whole family thing. So yeah, and that's very unhealthy, and he was also not very good to me, I think, at that time. So that's a learning that you should never really get involved in the relationship that quick in Europe, because you will never know if that guy just want to play or he really want to commit with you. Yeah, it's a very long story.
But yeah, because actually I know a part of this story you already told, but then I haven't heard the last part. So how do you tell the difference between someone who is actually interested and want to commit with you and the one who say want to not play, right? But
Yeah, I think you'll never know, but because at that time I think we are not in the equal status, equally relationship, because he is the one who can stay and work in New York, and I'm the one with student visa. And if he never want to come in with you, like he will not sponsor you, or he will not. I'm not saying you should find a guy that will sponsor you, but you can know. I think people can know deep down that if this person really want to come in with you, or he really pay a lot of attention to you. So I think you should always have a benchmark and should know that when is the best time you withdraw from this relationship. And if you are just want to play, and that's fine. But if you want to commit to someone, I think you really need to think about it. And you can ask a lot of different senior gay and senior to know, or senior like whatever people to know that. So
how did you come out with your family? Because you say that coming out with family is the first foundation to share with other people, right?
Yeah. First of all, I agree with you that why I don't know if you guys have watched a video called Love, Simon. Love, Simon is a US movie that very popular, I think in 2018, talking about a teenager in US that they are confusing why only gay people have to come out. If it's only straight people, they want to come out, what way we think they like. So highly recommend, side topic. But yeah, but I feel like for gay people coming out with your families, they are very scary things you have to do in your life. And in my case, I didn't really got a chance to come out with my parents, and that's the most regret thing that I have in my life. So back like 10 years ago, oh my god, so old. But 10 years ago, when I was in high school, and at that time, because like Tinder and Grindr and other dating apps, it's still not like popular at that time. So how gay people met each other is by recommendation by other friends. Like, so during high school, I think, remember, it was my 18th, after my 18th birthday, and I was in the third grade of high school, and I finally got the courage to hang out with one of my girl's friend, and then she said that, oh, she cannot really relate it to my situation, but what she can help me is to recommend the other people to me. So at that time, she recommended my very first boyfriend, and who live in Danshui.
Oh.
That's a very like.
Beautiful.
I would say it's like a long distance relationship, because I was in Neihu. It was Neihu and Danshui. It's like very so far away. You have to take bus and MRT for more than 1 hour. So it's very hard for us to date. And so yeah, so we've been together only for like 2 months, and then we broke up with each other. And after that, I was attracted by the one of the what do you say?
By
No. One of the students from other classes, and then he transferred to my class. And then I'm the kind of person that very like to take care of others. So why you're rolling your eyes? So yeah, I took care of him, and then he is kind of like a quickie and like a weird type of person, but who is kind of like attract me. But I think at that time I should know he has this type of like psychopath. He has like a antisocial kind of characteristic. So we dated for like 1.5 years at that time, and then we went to different college. He went to a college in Taipei, I went to a college in Taoyuan. So we separate. And at that time, because I feel like college is a whole new experience for me. I finally moved out of my home, and then I can stay in Taoyuan, and I can be whatever I want. So at that time, I realized I didn't really love him so much because he is so like controlling. He demanding to meet him 4 times a week, and I have to travel all the way from Taoyuan to Taipei. So at that time, I was thinking we should break up. We should break up, and I think he cannot really deal with it, and then he kind of like killing himself a lot. Like he got he cut in his wrist, and then he like got called he called ambulance and then to take him to hospital all the time. And even and I remember so clearly that one day I got a phone call from his mom, and his mom's like cursing me all the time. Like, why you do that to my son? Like why you make my son gay? And yeah, I was like, I didn't make you sound gay. You sound so gay. Is that
Naturally?
Yeah, naturally. But at the time, that's a moment I think, oh, gay people really, besides from the social pressures, we got a lot. The most pressure we have is from family. And the other day, I got a phone call by my parents saying that, oh, they're gonna meet me later in my school. And I was like, oh, maybe they just want to have a regular check-in for what I'm doing in my college. But when they came to my school campus, and then they asked me to join them in the car, and then I can immediately sense the weirdness and also the heavy atmosphere. And then my mother spoke, and then she said, "Oh, this guy came to our house and then ring the window, and then he told us everything. And then he said that he had some bad influence people in college, and he make some bad choices, and I just don't want him to get hurt." And at that time, I was so in a corner of a car, and then I'm speechless. Like, how on earth that person could do that thing? I think that's the most cool thing people can do for gay people is to coming out him for him. I think coming out is a right that every gay people have, and then nobody should take away from that. So that's how I say I didn't got a choice to come out with my parents. So, but 10 years after, right now, I kind of not appreciate, but I kind of released that we have that moment at that time. But as I say, I think Canal is a right. That no one should take away from the gay people. Yeah, and I remember I banned and forbid all the phone and all the from my ex at that time. Yeah, but that's really terrifying experience for me. That's how I came out.
Wow.
And I think I used all 4 years of my college time to help my parents to know that these are normal things. And and I remember at that time, my parents is like, I think normal parents, they would do that. They will ask their gay children to go to see the doctor, like the therapist or something. And they said, oh, my son has something broken, and they wish some hormone like drug can help him become normal, according to me, normal. So yeah, I was so unwilling, but I because I love him too much, so I have to go to. I remember many years after, I still see lots of drugs in the iron boxes that in my house, and I throw them away immediately. Yeah, so I think it's takes so many years for my parents to finally accept it. And I remember many years after, my mother told me that one day he saw my father sitting there and keep crying, and because he was watching all my photos when I was a children, and that really broke my heart. And I realized that it's not me being gay that they cannot accept, is that I'm being gay, but they have no idea for the past 18 years, and they don't know my struggle, and don't really know what I'm thinking is the thing that makes them sad. So heavy, oh my god.
Yeah, this is my second or third time that I listen to the story, and yeah, every time it's just very uneasy to listen. So, I mean, it has been 10 years, and looking back, do you have any advice for both the children and both the parents I know it's not an easy process, and it might take family 4 years, like your experience, or even a lifetime for them to accept.
Yeah, I think come out nobody to your friends or your family is a very difficult move. You have to get all the courage in the world to do the kind of things. And I would not say it's advice, but just a piece of experience that I can share is that for gay people, I think we should always know that what hurts parents most is not you being gay, or it's not that you cannot have the children for them, is that they really miss, for example, in my case, 18 years of what we know you as a true you. So I think we should never neglect that. We should always know that, oh, maybe it's time for us to share more to your parents or to your friends for that. And for the advice, not advice, I hate the advice word, but
Okay,
the
sorry.
suggestion for parents is that if you insist to taking your children or your gay sons or daughter to doctor, you need to go to a therapist. You also need to go to a therapist. You have to go meet all those specialties and then to ask what I should do if I have a gay son or gay daughter. I think that's one of the education and the things that we lack of, the resources we lack of to teach all those gay parents how to deal with the situation and how we can do to help our sons and daughters.
I remember the one time when I was in New York, and then I went to a bookstore to listen to a talk about trauma, and then there was an author. He's a very famous one. He wrote a book. I don't remember the name, but then it turned out to be a movie, and then it talks about his experience being gay, but then his family is, I think, Christian, work in the church, and then one day when they found out that his son is a gay person, um, they asked him to go to like doctors to make from a gay person to a straight person, and it just, yeah, I think it's just very heartbreaking to not be yourself, right?
Yeah, so I think I can also share a very deep secret, the experience I shared with Linh before, that I remember because I was studying in Europe for 2 years, and before graduation I was so struggle if I should stay in New York or I should go back because my mom was very sick from cancer at that time. So I I think it's during spring break, and then I went back to Taiwan, and then I asking the question to my family. And the very first one I asked was my brother, my older brother, because he always wanted me to go study abroad and then to earn a lot of money too. And then so I asked him why you support me and want me to study abroad, and he said, "Oh, because I want you to do the thing I cannot do because he believes his English sucks. So he thinks that maybe I can be the one to help get more wealth to my family." So the very first answer I got, and the second one I remember there's a time I sleep on the bed with my mother. It's one random afternoon, and I told her that my brother answered me that way, and then I asked the same question to my mother, why you want me to study in New York. And then she said, "Oh, it's not because I want you to earn a lot of money or stuff. I think you are already succeed, but the reason is I want you to be in a society and in a city that you can be yourself and you can not afraid of others' feelings and criticism." So that's the moment I decided I want to go back, because I feel like I want to be with my mother and I want to use the rest of her life to be with her. And so that's also one of the suggestions I made earlier, that you should always know that your family loves you. And to be afraid is normal, but you should know that what they really want is to know you more instead of being afraid of you.
Yeah, when I first listened to the story when we went to Ilan for team building, and then we were jogging, hiking, and then Sean just told me that.
Random story.
Not random, I really appreciate him for telling it. But it's just like very, yeah, it's a very uneasy process for parents and children, right? Let's move on. I think I hope that you guys have a glimpse into the story of Sean. It's not an easy process, I agree. And then I think also parents need time to accept, right? Like parents have the conception of you as being a straight person for 18 years, so they need time for them to know, right?
Yeah, I can agree more because in my case, I used 4 years of college time. That I was in Taoyuan and they were in Taipei. So how we did is we didn't really see each other all the times, but it gives us some time to really digest, like to redefine the relationship we have with our family. So it's really a suffering process, but I think you really need to give your parents or your friends some time and some space to think about that. But you still have to try to talk to them about that, and you don't have to talk to them like all in once. You can, in my case, I gradually share about my boyfriend with her at that time, and then and then many years after, she will started to ask me, oh, what about the new boyfriend and what's yeah. So I think you really need to give them some space and sometimes, and don't be rushed. This is not the thing you should rush on, and yeah, that's a suggestion I can have.
You need time to not educate but share with them like correct way. For example, like in Vietnamese, there always some words like bạn ý bị gay, so it's like he or she suffers from being gay. Like some people would say that, but then I remember that when very long time ago when I said that, in a very natural way, it's not like I mean something and my friend just correct me. No, it's not like they suffer from they are gay, just simple as that. So I remember then when my mom also say that like he or she suffer from being gay, it's, it doesn't sound that bad in Vietnamese. I think you can correct them to say that it's just who they are. It's not like a very serious thing or very bad thing, right? So I think everything takes time to tell other people, especially parents who are from different generation as you. So just take time. Okay, so we finished the part on family, right? Let's move on to workplace, which is a more sensitive topic. You mentioned something about one in the workplace that you want to be yourself, not people to judge you for being who you are. Are there anything else that the workplace should be more inclusive of?
I think this is something that I need to keep working on. Is that because I work for Heineken. Heineken is a beer company. I'm not criticizing the company, but the beer itself is more masculine and more straight man. To say that, but it's true. And I think sometimes in some employee, some like sales guy or something, they will make some jokes mistakenly, like criticizing the gay community. But I think it's all about interpretation. Like he's making joke of gay, maybe he didn't mean it, but it's how we translate that and how we really say that. But I'm thinking, but because right now I only can out to the people in marketing team, but I didn't really can out to all the from other departments people. So I think maybe that's something that I can keep influencing. Like maybe I can have a club or not a club or just try to count out to those other people. But that's also terrifying me because we have to go out with salespeople all day long, and I don't want my sexuality being So that's one thing that I'm jealous about all the other like startups and like tech company like Google, like P&G or like Agoda. Some of their employees are gay, but they have this like group of gay people. They form a club in the company, and then they will participate in annual gay parade in Taipei. Google Taiwan, they do that. So I think that's a goal I can keep like pursuing and hoping that someday we can have those kind of community here.
Yeah, that makes me remember that my friend just in Vietnam, then she mentioned that in consulting or in banking, so people don't want to tell others that they are gay because that might influence their position in the company. Can I share this? If not, then I just delete it. So we have the new boss, right? And then Sean doesn't want to share with the boss that he's gay because he's afraid that it might influence the position in the company. But it turned out like when we were having the team building, and then I don't remember the question, but then you share with him that you're gay, and he was just like, yeah, I know, or something like that. Yeah, he's not surprised, and then he's very okay, and then very very welcoming with that, right?
I thought the background of that is we were having an outing to
Yeah.
Ilan, and that's one session.
To
I hate that session. Actually, that's to draw your circle of life. River of life. That's circle of life. River of life.
Oh yeah.
That you have to share like what you have achieved or what makes you
Who you are
for the past 20 or 30 years. And
30
I
years
was
for
so
you.
struggled because I was planning to talk, because our boss was from Korean and he joined Heineken Taiwan for only like 2 months at a time, and he's a man. And I feel like Korean people are very like straight driven, and it's a very straight society that don't welcome the gay culture. I think so because he thinks so too. And and at that time I was thinking, what is a way that I can out to him, because I really don't want to hide myself. So during this River of Life session, the very first thing I say, hey boss, I want to. I was planning to tell you later, but I want to tell you right now because it's made me who I am today. So I tell him that I'm gay, and then I grow up, blah, 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 and all this stuff. Yeah, and then turn out he acted like he's welcoming to that. I don't know if he really changed his perspective to me or not, because I cannot tell. But I can say that because he also has some gay friends, very close gay friends. So I think maybe it's okay. Yeah, but I think it's already no one really push you to come out to your peer or to your colleague, and you don't really need to. But if you want to work for the environment or work for a company that's accept you as who you are, I think you will be more creative and more willing to stay in that company. Yeah.
Yeah, I think because you have a concern like no, I think it's, for example, I think we would be more careful when we talk to you, or we just stop asking you to do stuff that you don't want, right? For example, you say a lot of sports are very male driven. We wouldn't ask you to do that, or we wouldn't share that much about family and ideal, like the normal in everything is normal or no, the society norm on what is a family, right? So I think, yeah, it's best or it's better to share if you can, not like a must that you need to share. But I think, yeah, because I remember, oh my god, I'm so rambling. But I remember that you share a concern that the boss would ask you to do something or call you bro. You don't feel comfortable, right?
Not really feel comfortable. It's like especially when during lunchtime he will like ask me if I want to go to lunch together, and then he will do this like fist to fist greeting like your bro. And I was like, I'm not your bro, I'm gay. I don't want to tell him no. Like long times ago. So I think that's a good thing that it came out to him, and then he realized that maybe doing those bro things is not the proper action. So I think it's all depends on what kinds of workforce you want to be in. So yeah, no pressure.
Yeah, I just remember because it's shared that Heineken is a very like a beer company, a male-oriented company. Then I just realized, but vegans still join the company and still enjoy it. So I think it's also our choice to influence, be marketer, to influence the choice and perception. For example, like in Vietnam, there's no female salesperson except for in convenience store.
Oh, really?
And then even in the management team, there's no woman. Then when I came here, there are nearly around half. A management team are female, right? And then there are a lot of female sales. So I think don't let the perception stop you from doing what you want. Yeah, there's always outliers, and you can be the outliers if you want to.
Yeah, but I think the perception is in a rolling basis. Like you will never know what people really think about you, and when it comes to like promotion or the other thing, maybe because of your gay you didn't get promotion, or maybe it's because of your promotion, because of your performance. So yeah, I think you really need to have a benchmark to know. It's not like you have to tell everyone in your company. Just find a way that you feel most comfortable of and be yourself.
Yeah. Hope that 10 years, if this podcast still exists, we wouldn't need to treat LGBT as an outlier anymore and just very. So this is the last question about the LGBT before we move into a very, I think, more fun topic. You say, Sean's boyfriend. So after the legislation legalized same-sex marriage in Taiwan, do you think that the whole environment change, or feel that it's still the same despite the legislation?
I think that's one obvious change you can see, that lots of like gay people holding hands on the street. That's a very sweet thing. I mean, for me to see that people are willing to hold hands during public, because before that we just afraid that the society won't accept us. So especially during this COVID-19 thing, people are wearing surgical masks so you cannot see all the people's faces. But it's just after the same-sex marriage, you can see that people are more confident of being gay and to be showing off that I'm with a guy or I'm with a girl that I'm in love with. So I think that's a very obvious change since last May. So in 2019, the same-sex marriage legalized. Yeah, and I think in the social perspective, lots of more like brands and they are more willing to have this like direct, the content, and they will have this kind of topic like same-sex marriages is something, same-sex sex also should be protected or something. They have this like in a positive way, and I think that's a huge difference, because I know same-sex marriage is a very it takes a lot of efforts for Taiwanese people to fight for it, but we have this vote before, and I think most of the people are still afraid that same-sex marriage will affect the straight marriage, because they're afraid that if we have some same-sex marriage and the society will be in chaos. But it turns out it's not. So I think it still takes some time for people to realize that same-sex marriage is the normal thing, and there's still some self-identity issue need to be solved as well. So I think still takes some time, but there's changes we can see. I like to see men holding hands on the street. That's so cute.
Yeah, I think if you come to Taipei, especially Ximen, I think it's a very normal thing. And I think as more people are okay with doing it public, then the whole perception will change gradually. They will think it's a normal thing and not like judged in any way. Tell us more about your boyfriend.
Hopefully he will be my last one. But I think he's very sweet, and I will just explain how we met. So back in 2018, that's the time when I was finally single. Not finally single, that I was so alone in New York. And I remember there's Thanksgiving time, like people go home and then have vacations with their friends, their family, and I was a foreigner and I was so alone in the city. That's when the time I download Tinder. Can't sponsor us, but that's the time when I download Tinder, and I started to seeing guys on Tinder, New York guys, and at that time, I didn't really got attached with any guys, and at that time I booked a ticket back to Taiwan, And then as you know, Tinder is more geo targeting
Yeah.
things. So that's when the time I sweat right or left,
Right.
Swipe left. Oh my god, so old, too old for the tech. But I swipe right when I see this sunny and this a little bit muscular guy on Tinder with this. Oh, I remember this photo of him playing around with the ears of the dog. I was like, oh my god, so cute. And I swiped right immediately. And then I remember we connect on December 21st, 2018. And then we started chat on Tinder. And I remember this very, I think the bad thing for Tinder is that you cannot send photos. So you will not bump into random people that send in their part of themselves on the app. So, and then we are talking about where we can go. We're talking about where the go-to place during Christmas in Taipei. And then he recommended me some places. And then I think this is a very natural way to ask for line. The other channel that he said, oh, Tinder here, we cannot send photos, but I want to show you the place you can go. So he asked me for my Line account. So that's how we started. Yeah, so smooth and natural. And we connected online. And then we started to talk, like chatting, not chatting, like texting all the time online. And then he asked, oh, what's your plan for Christmas? So I said, nothing for the moment, because I was studying in New York and I don't know, I don't have any plan in Taiwan. So he said, oh no, why don't we meet? And then I will take you to some places. Yeah, he's good at it. Yeah, so so that's how we met December 23rd. So detailed, oh my god. Yeah. So that's how we have our first date. I remember we met at 6 at night, and then he took me to a restaurant called Outing. And then it's a very nice bistro place, and then we have a cut of dishes. And I remember the very nice thing he do at a time is he cut the meat or an egg. Oh, an egg. I think it's an egg. A pancake or something. And then he cut one slice and then give it to me first. And then I think that's a very touching move that I remember so far. And then after the dinner, he took me to one hidden bar in Taipei, and then we got a little bit tipsy at that time, and then we are having this conversation and realized that, oh, we come from the same high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we come from, and he's a senior at that time, but we didn't even know each other at that time. But that's a very coincidence things, and and it turned out that we even went to the same major. Although it's a different college, we went to the same major during college, and he also has this kind of like foreign experience that he was a exchange student in Boston. I was studying in New York, so that's how we connect with each other. And after that night, we hang out every day. Yeah, we hang out every day and went to mountain climbing in Shangshan, in end of the mountain, and went to. Oh, I remember went to watch The Greatest Showman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he was like crying all around. So I was like, oh my god, this guy can cry, and he is so like I'm so emotional attached to him. So that's the moment I think, oh, maybe he's the one that we can date with. And I remember in December 30th, it's so detailed, sorry for that, but in December 30th, he asked if I can be his boyfriend, and then I remember we were riding U-bike to the station at that time, and I said, oh, I don't know, I think maybe I should think about that for a little bit.
Are you playing hard to get?
No, not that, but it's like, because I was struggling that if I should stay or if I should stay in New York or if I should come back. And I don't want to commit to a relationship that eventually I would have to break up something. Yeah, so the thing that I didn't realize, I know like a few months ago that at that moment I broke his heart, actually. But I don't know that. I just know that like two months ago. But the day after, in December 31, yeah, I finally made my decision, and I told him that, yeah, do you want to be with me? And I was like, yeah, we are together. And so our anniversary is at December 31st.
It's only one day.
Only one day.
Is that the time when you had the conversation with your mom and you decided to stay?
No, that's after.
So the conversation was
It's before.
after? Oh, was before?
You mean with my mother?
Yeah.
The conversation with my mother is the year after.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was dating with Justin, and then at that moment I still can't decide if I want to go back. But in December 21st, I asked Justin if he want to be my boyfriend because I feel like he's really the good guy that I don't want to miss. So let's try to date first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then I think the thing that keep going for our long distance relationship is that we try very hard to commit with each other. Like, I think it's the sacrifice he did is that we have this video call every day, and then New York and Taipei we have like 12 hours differences. So it's like when he wake up, we do the video things and then video sex and that stuff. Is that okay to say? Yeah, and that's how we remain our relationship. And I remember in February 2018, that's about February. That's Valentine's Day, near Valentine's Day. And in the morning, I got ringing the bell, and then there's a bunch of rose in front of my door. And he managed to find the local shop and then to deliver the roses to my house. And that's just one surprise. And then during the night, I got a package, a very huge box of package. And then when I opened the package, it's the dry flower he made by himself. And then with a card, and then with the one of the photo collection he made for me, and wishing me the happy Valentine's Day and wish he can be here with me. I was like crying all in an instant. And that's the time I think, oh, he's the one. He is really there to support me when I was in New York. Yeah. And in May 2018, that's my graduation. And at that time, my mom was very sick, and my family had to be in Taiwan, and they cannot come to my graduation. So Justin booked a ticket, and he fly all the way to New York and then to attend my graduation ceremony in Yankee Stadium. And he cried all the time. That's so cute. And I was so touched and moved by his
accent.
And his presence and represent my family. So that's the time I think, oh, he's the one. He's really the one. And then we have fun in US, and we went to Disneyland and went to like Central Park picnic all the time for like 15 days. And at that time, he's still coming with the work. So I feel, wow, that's a very brave move for him to come to New York. And then right after he came back to Taiwan, the next day I also came back to Taiwan. I think he's one of the reasons why I decided I want to go back, because all the people I love is in Taiwan. Yeah, that's how we met, and we have been dating for 2 years and 3 months for now. Yeah.
Okay, that's a very nice story that I think everybody is having the goal of finding someone like you and your boyfriend. So do you guys plan to get married?
That's a heavy question. I think first of all, no matter you're gay or regular straight couple, I think marriage is the commitment with each other, not only with each other, but also with each other's family. So in my case, because my boyfriend, his family just find out he's gay, so maybe it will take some time for them to accept it, and I will also have to like have some dinner or have some get to know each other session with his parents. So I think I don't want to rush it. I was planning to propose to him last year, the next December when we were in New Zealand, but I don't want to rush it, and I don't want to be the push one, like give him some pressures, because I don't think his family is ready for it. And why I say it, because he already have some dinner experience with my father, so I think it will take some time. You will know.
Mm.
I think. Yeah. I think no matter you get Australia, I think you should get to know their family first because it's not just about you.
Mm.
Yeah, I think marriage is about family to family.
So you say that his family just found out about him being gay, so it's another struggling story, right? But if you can you share a bit about his the other side of story? Because I think a lot of people would have different circumstances, and we would like to know how people deal with it.
Okay, I don't want to speak for him, but I can have a quick summary for what he has experienced. So at that time, we were dating for like half year when I was just came back from New York, moved back from New York, and I think he feels like I can be the one to support him to make a come up decision. So he came out with his mother at that time, and they get into a huge discussion and fights because his family is more like traditional one and his parents are also older than my parents and I at that time I think there's a lot of tears and communication. I don't think their family are okay and accept it right even right now, but I think he has just made a huge steps for coming out to his family. So I don't want to push him for the wedding and or the marriage right now. I want to give him some space, and then I can also maybe in future have some time to get along with his family. So yeah, let's hopefully you can get my red envelope soon. Yeah.
Okay, maybe just a random cultural question. What is a wedding in Taiwan like?
Oh my god. Well, wedding in Taiwan normally it's about the marriage of the two families. So you will have to the parents have to meet, and then they will have to decide in if it's a girl side they can decide if for example the cake and the dessert they want to send out to the friends and family, and if you are the friends of the husband side, you will not get anything. That's a
Really?
culture. Yeah, if you are friends of the wife, you can get the dessert. Yeah, so it's a tradition in Taiwan. But what I want is not the traditional wedding because I don't think it should be involving all these relatives and all the families. I don't think they can still accept that. So for my ideal wedding, I will want to have like small occasion, and then it will have like very heartwarming dance or something. So
Oh,
yeah, you'll see.
okay. So I hope that in the next few years I can get the red envelope to come back to Taiwan, right?
Yeah.
And then see how a wedding in Taiwan is like. I know that having a child or having children for gay people is very difficult, but not many people are aware of this process. So can you tell more about the process for having children for you guys?
That's what I learned when I was in New York, but I know that it's gonna be very costly. But this is one of my dreams to have a family of my own. So I get to know the process. There's two stages. The very first stage is to try to find the eggs you want to have. Like you will find this agency, they will try to find a good eggs. They'll do the recommendation, or you can pick like you want an Asian egg, you want a European egg, or you want a US egg. Yeah, so once they find the perfect eggs you want, you can start matching, and then you can have like 7 to 8 successful eggs, and then you can frozen, and then the second stage is you will find the people who can carry this combined egg for you, and then you can um, ask her to help to deliver the baby for you. So it's a very costly process. It will normally take like $100 for the whole process.
100,000.
Yeah, $100 for the whole process. So and you will have to face the challenge that it might be a miscarriage, or the children might turn out to be like
Abnormal.
abnormal. Yeah. So it's something that take lots of money, also take lots of efforts, but that's the thing I want to do, and hopefully there will be more this kind of agency coming out to help our community. But yeah, but that's my dream. I want to do that. So
Yeah, it's a very tiring process. Because I in Vietnam, I don't know if it's the same in Taiwan, but in Vietnam there are a lot of women or men who cannot have a baby, and then they need to go on the same process. And I realize it's just a very tiring process to achieve the dream of having a full family, right? Okay. Yeah. What else? Oh, and then you just told me that there's a part I was very wondering why the person who don't not sell the egg is not the one who carry the baby, like pregnant with the baby, because you don't want them to have a attachment with the baby to not give the baby to you, right?
No, I think that's the regulation the agency sets, because I think it's naturally that if you are the egg provider and you're also the one who doing the pregnancies, you will definitely, some of them will definitely want to keep the baby, and that's lose the whole point. So that's why they have to have this two step, like one is egg provider and the other one is in charge of pregnancy. Yeah, and I think they also make it clear that the one who is paying for it, for example, me, you cannot visit the one, the egg provider or the pregnancy woman, because you don't want each other have problem or any attachments with each others. Yeah. Hopefully, I can share more if I successfully have the whole process in the future.
Another fact is, each person, like each husband, can only, like, you need to have 2 children to have
Yeah.
representative of each husband. That's what I learned from Sean. Okay, that's it. Okay, are there anything else that you want to share before we closing this episode?
Well, I think pretty much is it. Pretty much if you want to know more, you can like always, I don't know, comment or something.
Or like if you want to know more about Sean's story or have any conversation, then you can just reach out to our email podcast@gmail.com, and I will forward to Sean. Yeah, that's it, right? I think we learn, like personally, I learned a lot from my friends about diversity and then in being inclusive. So to Sean's story about studying in New York, like about opening a lot of new possibilities, and also about all the struggle that you guys come out, and how other people can support and support each other. So that will be the end of the podcast. Thank you very much for sharing a lot of stories, although a lot of them are very sensitive. I don't know how can people trust people that much to share. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Maybe you can speak in Chinese, or every day if I send any Chinese text to line, and he will always correct me with, you are not writing traditional Chinese. Okay, so anything that you want to say in Chinese? Maybe just goodbye in Chinese or something like that.
So awkward to translate.
Okay, let's cut this part. Yeah, so thank you very much for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Dai Tien, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.